So, thank you for joining us today. My name is Katie Clark. I'm an assistant professor of nursing at Augsburg University. I just want to start off by saying, do you consent to being interviewed and having the interview recorded and stored at Augsburg University, which will be made available to the public?
I understand that.
Yes, okay.
Yes, I do.
All right. And then Jenna Nelson is also with us, a graduate nursing student.
Yep. Thanks.
So she'll just be helping with some of the questions and whatnot. So Mr. X, that's how he would like to be identified. Why don't you start off telling us a little bit about yourself?
Born and raised in Colorado. And I lived in Iowa City for about 15 years. Then I got sent up here, about over 20 years ago for treatment. Flunked that. Worked up here for a while. Lost my job, and I've been up here ever since then. Been homeless for 30 years, over 30 years. 30 years, 40 years. 100 bridges, abandoned buildings, motels, sometimes shelters.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time to navigate living out on the streets. That takes a lot of strength. What brings you that strength? Like, how do you...
How I stay outside.
Yeah.
It was hard. It was very hard to sleep outside under bridges, because sometimes you pick the wrong bridge and you get beat up, get robbed. So I just found certain people who I could trust and hung with them, and they were like a family. We took care of each other and shared everything and looked after each other.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
important. So now, who would you say your family is now, as far as your family when you were staying under the bridge and now you're not staying outside, correct?
No, most of them have passed away. And the ones who are still alive are at the same place I'm at a wet house.
Okay.
So we still communicate, but we don't really stay together like we used to. We just don't communicate as much as we used to.
Sure. So when you say you live at a wet house, what is that like for you to live at a wet house?
Yeah, it's a place for the alcoholics. You can stay there until you die or find housing. Some people can't get into housing because they got criminal records, felonies. Some got more felonies than I've ever seen in my life. But they ain't funny. And they can't get into housing, so that's their last option.
So when you're living there, do you find that it's like a good place to live, or would you rather not live there?
Well, that's a hard question to ask. In some ways it's good, in some ways it's not too pleasant. It's a place where my head, sleep, get cleaned up. And the bad part are some people who I don't like there, and there's always some kind of problems, fights breaking out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like you, why should I like you? And I don't want to share nothing with you, and just leave me alone. But yet, sometimes there's always fights breaking out.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's my second time I've been there.
What happened? Were you there and then you found different housing, or you were there and you got kicked out?
The first time I was there, I stayed there for 2 years. I think it was 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. Then some dude wanted to steal my bottle, and I turned around and broke his nose. And they came running out, and they told me I'm kicked out, and he's gonna stay, and I was back on the streets for a year and a half, back under the bridges, convention center, band houses again. Occasionally the shelters, but I didn't care for the shelters because they didn't like me and I didn't like them, and I just told them I'll stay outside.
I remember when you were staying outside in between your living at the wet house, you had some times where you felt like police were targeting you at times.
No, yeah.
Can you tell me more about that?
There are some places where I used to sleep behind Central Lutheran, but other people found out about it and they were coming in there and throwing crack parties, drinking and smoking and drinking and just having the cops called over. And they would come up to me and I go, I don't know these people. They go, well, you're here and you're not supposed to be on church property, so you gotta leave, and they're going, we don't want to see you on church property no more.
Wow.
Pardon me.
That's all right. So, when did you start coming to the Health Commons?
I would say about 15 years ago. 15, 10, maybe 10, 15.
And how did you first find out about it?
I just stumbled upon it. This was before the nurses came here, though.
Okay.
There was just only a clothes closet and lunch.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Okay. And so, you've been coming for quite some time. What keeps you coming back to the Health Commons to see the nurses?
You.
Well, I haven't been here that long.
No, you've been here for what, 9 years? 10?
Yeah. So what was it about the nurses that...
How you help out. If people need something, you're right there for them. Aspirins, cough drops, stuff like that. Blood pressure.
And if there was something that you would consider changing about the Health Commons, what would you change?
Well, I'm happy with the way it is right now. Yeah, very happy, satisfied.
Well, I think us being in a trailer is an obvious, challenge at times, but is there a story you could share about your favorite time at the Health Commons?
Coming here?
Yeah. Like a good story or a memorable story?
Not really, no. Except meeting you, that was about it. Well, first time I met you, we started talking. Maybe the first day or the second day you were here, or maybe weeks afterwards.
Yeah, that's true. And slowly over time you talked more and more and
got to know each other, yeah.
Yeah. I think another big thing that we need to know more about too is, so working in inpatient in the hospitals and the ERs and all that kind of stuff, what are some things that nurses should know if they're taking care of somebody who's homeless?
I used to have alcoholic seizures. I've had quite a few here, and you know what to do. They weren't severe. Yeah, it was moderate seizures, and you know what to do. Even though I didn't want to go there, because I'd go to the hospital and they ship me out to detox. And I'd be stranded out there for 3-4 days.
When you go to the hospital, do you feel like most of the time people treat you with respect, or do you feel like maybe you're stereotyped against at all?
They stereotype you. Mainly HCMC does. I know they do.
So what are some things that healthcare providers could do different so you don't feel stereotyped?
I don't know anymore.
No.
I like going to Abbott Northwestern. If there's anything wrong with me, I'd rather go to Abbott Northwestern because they're more compassionate and considerate of my health. HCMC, they just tell you to shut up and we're going to strap you down and When I need to go to the bathroom, we don't care.
Wow.
Yeah. So if I do have any kind of health problems, yeah, Abbott Northwestern.
That's good to know. As far as homelessness in general, what is a big issue that you think that people need to know and be aware of that should be changed?
It's hard to find places these days to camp out. The first 2 times I did it, they were pretty easy to find. Third time, it was a little bit difficult because I always went back to my old places, and they turned into condos, restaurants, penthouses. But this last one, it was hard to find to do anything.
So being that you're from Colorado, and I understand why you came to Minnesota, how come you didn't go back to Colorado and you stayed in Minnesota?
I went back home, but that was about 20 years ago, over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When I went back there, most of the people were dead. And things kind of changed. People who I grew up with were either dead, moved out, or in prison. So I said, well, there's nothing left here for me. And I just came back here because it kind of reminds me of Colorado. In some ways, it don't. So I said, well, I'll just stay here.
Is there anything you want to share about your birth parents or where you grew up, or you don't have to? It's up to
I
you.
just grew up in foster homes, juvenile centers, foster homes. Well, my parents, there was no communication with them at all, except with my other 3 brothers. With me, no communication with them.
That had to be really hard. That had to be really hard.
I was used to it. Because I beat up my brothers were beating me up. And my dad would come home and beat the shit out of me, and then I would take off and disappear for a month. And they never did look for me. Never did. Yeah. But if they try to bring me back, I would take off again and say, fuck them. I don't want no communication with these people.
Do you ever keep in contact with any of the foster families that you lived with?
Some of them have passed away, but when I did go home, there were 2 still alive. And they would just wonder about my whereabouts, and I told them I'm still in Minnesota. They go, yeah, you were pretty good, decent parents, or foster parents. Even though you were collecting money, I knew that. That you were getting money to get paid to watch over me, feed me, and clothe me, and
How about you, Jenna? Do you have any questions that I'm not asking or you could think about?
I guess where do you think you find like the most resources for, like, do you go to churches a lot when you didn't have like a shelter to get food or health care?
no, it's the White House, they feed you over there.
Yeah.
They got a shower, laundry, you can wash clothes there.
Okay.
Food sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not worth eating.
Do you have like a 1-bedroom like apartment or a room, or how does that work?
Rooms like this, a little bit bigger.
Okay.
So I got my TV, my clothes there. Anything I have, it's there.
Okay.
Do you feel like, because I know there's a big debate about wet houses using taxpayer dollars to house individuals, but the long-term financial savings are supposed to be pretty remarkable. Do you think that since you've been in a wet house, you've not been admitted as much to a hospital or gone to detox as much? Do you feel like you've been able to more have a home and not go into those other services as much?
I do want to get my own housing.
Yeah.
But since I got a criminal record, that's pretty hard to do now.
Yeah.
Because I used to get my own places. I mean, just like that. And some organizations came by and looked me over and said, well, you got a criminal record? Well, help, yeah, but they Never did. They would come by and just chit-chat and chit-chat and chit-chat. They didn't look into nothing. Just want to come by and chit-chat. So I just tell them, don't waste my time. Don't come by and just a chit-chat every week. It's mundane. You're wasting your time. You're wasting my time. It's just a chit-chat about nothing.
So when you want to get your own place, is there people who help you a lot with that, or do you have to apply for things kind of independently?
I know how they found me. I really don't know how these housing organizations knew about me, but they just came out of the blue.
Interesting.
And told me to come by and give them a call, and they'll come by. And most of them are up St. Paul. Yeah, all three of them are up St. Paul.
And then, so as far as like applying for health insurance, how is that? What is
health
that?
Insurance?
Yeah, like if you were to apply for health, I don't know if you have health insurance or not, but is the process pretty complex and difficult, or are there people to help with that? Like, how has that process been?
I've seen people get a place. Where I'm at right now, like I said, at the White House, I talked to a couple of people, and they got a place just within a month. I go, well, I've been working with them for months on end, and it's not leading up to nowhere, so
Yeah.
congratulations to you, but this really sucks. It really sucks.
That does suck.
They go, you're jealous? And I said, well, yeah, I should be a little bit jealous. Maybe you don't, well, I think they take mostly people who's more mentally ill, more unstable. They'll take them first, because they look at me, well, you've been homeless for all your life. You know how to take care of yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. If there was, maybe we could help you. But you seem reasonable enough you could take care of yourself.
So, being that you have a history of seizures and whatnot, do you have health insurance right now? You do.
Medica.
And do you have to apply for that quite frequently, or is it something that's...
They came out of the blue too, because I was getting Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And then I got terminated from that. Then I got medical assistance, and they said I was overqualified for that. So then I got Medica, and they help if I need to get a bus card, to my appointments. That helps.
That's awesome. That's good.
They used to help you get leg braces, but they can't do that no more. They cut that off. They cut some things off.
Yeah. Wow. What do you think homelessness will look like 20 years from now?
I don't know. I hope I'm not around to see it.
What would you say your biggest source of strength is? What's your biggest source of strength right now? What brings you the most strength?
My friends, I think I know what I would say. The ones who I could talk to.
The ones that you stayed under the bridges with?
Yeah.
And that's wonderful. That's good that you have that.
Like I said, we don't mingle like we used to, but when we do, we do.
So can you tell me a little bit about panhandling?
I spend most of my time signing. It's hard to do that. Stand on a corner, holding a sign, try to make something, money, food, clothes. On a given day, I can make some money. Some days, food. Other days, nothing. On my good day, I made $100 one day. If that was a 10, she folded up as a 10. And I stood out there for maybe 2 hours, snowing, raining. Some lady just popped me a 10, and no cars, no nothing. I unfolded it. It was a $100 bill.
So what would you say, like, are people usually pretty respectful, or are they
Well, they're
rude?
respectful. Yeah, they'll roll down their windows and say, "I'm sorry, I don't have this, but here's a pair of gloves." Or I go, "Well, that works, thank you."
Yeah.
Hygiene products, gift cards, or other times they'll just roll down their window and say, "Get a job." And I tell them this is my job. And they'll tell me, they go, and I tell them the same thing. I know that most of them are considerate. If they have an apple or an orange, they'll, yeah, change, a cup of coffee. And I go, "Oh, that's too bad," but
So, is there, because I know you have so much knowledge and so much experience with your length of homelessness, is there a topic that people don't usually talk about that needs awareness? Like, is there too much violence against women on the streets? Are there, like for example, how does it work? Let's say you're on the busiest intersection at rush hour traffic. How is it decided who gets those corners?
We have to take turns. Down by Basilica, around Institute, I don't go in that area because there's maybe about 20 people waiting to get in there, and well, not 20 people, maybe 15, 10, and they're just standing around there. So they give you a time limit. From what I'm told, they'll give you 30 minutes, 45 minutes. If you're not making nothing, so I'll tell you to get out the corner and say, "Next."
So do you have to share your money when things like that happen?
No. I never.
No, but so there's somebody down there all the time kind of regulating who's in and who's out.
Yeah.
Is
Down
there
by Basilica and Brown Institute. Yeah. There's a lot of fights over there.
Is there, like, I've heard women say that they exchange sex for corners at certain hours.
Well, I heard that too, yeah.
Yeah, so I did, and I've also heard some discussions around certain corners, like sometimes it's people who are more using heroin, and then another corner might be more people who are drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
That's true too.
I do that. I don't shoot up. I just have a few quick bumps to get me warm and
Yeah.
give me enough courage to get out there and do it. Just doing it sober is kind of embarrassing. Like, why am I out here? This is embarrassing. You need something to get you motivated to do it.
Yeah. Can you think of anything you want to add to it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, if you go down by Basilica, you'll see quite a few people waiting to hit those corners. Basilica. Like I said, I don't go in that area. I got my own little area where there's only me, maybe 2 other people. And we're considerate of each other. Well, hey, I'm done. If you want to take over, you can have it.
So let's say I was to become homeless tomorrow. What is one thing of advice you would give me if I was a newly homeless individual? If I was a newly homeless person, what advice would you give me?
I would tell you where to go at, show which place to go to, who can really help you. And like Central Lutheran, I would say Mary Jo's, but I heard that's kind of turn over a new leaf. They don't help out as much as they used to. The Red Cross, some of the churches, St. Stephen's, Simpsons, they'll help you get situated. St. Olaf's.
I know there's like all this talk about all these ends or plans to end homelessness. What would your plan to end homelessness look like?
No. There always will be homelessness. Because I know a friend, she's doing that. She's working for Homeless Connect, trying to get people off homelessness and stuff. and I don't see nothing. I don't see no improvements.
Mm-hmm.
I tell her that too. It's always gonna be homelessness. It's like, yeah. She goes, well, we're trying. I go, yeah, but you're trying, but I see more homeless people than I used to see 20, 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time I didn't see women with kids on the corners trying to survive. And every time I'm outside, I'll see women with kids trying to sign, trying to make something.
Mm-hmm.
First time, no, I never seen it. Now I see more women with kids being homeless and trying to sign or do whatever they gotta do.
Well,
If I have some money, occasionally I'll do it for them. I'll help them out. But other times, if it's a dude, no. I go, dude, I ain't gonna help you, man. Because I know what you're gonna do with your money. And, yeah, you're gonna go out and blow it all, get drunk, get high. No, I'd rather help a woman with a kid than help you.
well, thank you so much for your time, Mr. X. You've answered so many important questions and shared so much, so we appreciate that.
Thank you, Mrs.